Welcome back to the virtual hangar. September is National Library Card Sign Up Month, so we are going to make this library card holder. Your kit will include one piece of Placentia library fabric, one clear piece of vinyl, 10 straight pins, one keyring attachment, and one paper pattern. This project will require a sewing machine, so if you don't have one, you can come into the hangar anytime we're open. Just check the hangar page on the library website for hours and upcoming closures, or you could borrow one from the Library of Things, and there is a link for information in the description of the video. You are also going to need a pair of scissors, and an iron will also be very helpful. Okay, to start this project, we are going to go ahead and take our scissors and just cut out that entire paper pattern. The top left part of this paper just has a diagram with some information about the pattern overall, so you can save that if you like, just set it aside. We're going to start by taking our vinyl pattern piece and our piece of vinyl, and it may not be cut exactly right, so you just want to square up the piece of vinyl with the paper pattern and then trim it as you need with your scissors. Once you've got that all trimmed, we are going to cut out our cotton pieces. There are two pieces that should be pretty much identical, and then it'll leave about an inch on the side. So you can fold it just like that just to see that it's even. And then we're going to apply that to the piece of fabric. There are many number of ways to apply patterns to fabric and cut them out. I am going to do it here by just cutting out the pieces and then tracing kind of along that fold with a pencil. So once I've got the paper, I'm just going to make sure that I have exactly how much room I need for that little tape piece. I'm going to take a pencil and just trace along that straight line. And once I've traced it, I'll just cut it out. And then it'll be really easy to get those two bigger pieces exactly even. So trace it on the wrong side of the fabric just so, it doesn't show. It's good practice to put it on the back side. And then once you've got that tape piece, I just kind of fold my fabric together on the right sides together. And I take that pencil and just kind of rub it along that midline. I can straighten it out and clean it up with the piece of paper there. And then cut that out in half. So now we've got two big pieces of this lightweight quilt cotton that I got custom printed with our Placentia Library logo and some little books. And now we've got our little cotton tape. So all of our pieces are cut and the right shape, so we're ready to start putting it all together. The first thing we're going to do to start assembling is do a little mini bias tape for the top of the vinyl. That will be the little sleeve envelope where your card goes in. So with your iron on the cotton setting, you can go pretty hot. The cotton should be okay. Just make sure you keep your iron moving, press straight down, and just don't leave it there for any amount of time. What we're going to do is take this little piece of cotton tape. We're going to fold it in half and iron it down. So once I've folded it in half, I'm going to take the iron and just make that crease nice and sharp. Again, just keep your iron moving. It shouldn't take long. This quilt cotton is very accepting of the iron. Once we've got that first crease ironed, we are now going to take the two edges and fold them towards the center crease we made. So what we're doing is hiding this unfinished edge of the fabric, and it's going to make kind of a little like a little hat for the top of the vinyl. So once you've got it folded like that, you're just going to iron all the way across. It can be a little tricky because it is quite small, but just be careful. Don't burn your fingers. And also, if you don't own an iron, you can come into the hangar. This is the hangar's iron, and you can totally use ours. We got that second crease done, so then we're just going to fold it back over and iron it, and then attach it to the vinyl with some pins. To pin, you're going to go straight down. You want to pierce through all the layers and then back up and pierce through that way. We're just going to kind of center the vinyl in the middle of the tape. The tape will be longer than the piece of vinyl you cut, but it makes it a little bit easier later on. And you want to do the heads of the pins on the vinyl side and the pokey side out because you want to get as few holes in the vinyl as possible. So I'm going to just sew this along the edge. It doesn't really matter where you sew this in terms of seam allowance. You're just really attaching this tape to the vinyl. I always start by going forward and then by going backwards and then going forwards again. It's good practice. We're just trying to get along the vinyl side edge of the tape, just a straight sew along. And again, I always do a reverse there at the end. Keeps your seams from falling out on accident. And then you can trim down a little bit. And that should be good. So now that's nice and attached, and that makes the pocket. So we are going to pin it to the right side of one of the pieces of fabric. This will be the front. And we just kind of want to make sure that the corners are squared up and it's on there nice and straight. Again, we want to pin through the vinyl as little as possible because the pinholes are going to stay in the vinyl. It's not going to repair itself the way a woven or a knit fabric would. So I'm just going to pin the corners at kind of like a 45-degree angle there. The seam allowance on this pattern is about a 1/2 inch. So as long as you keep the pinholes within a 1/2 inch of the edge of the fabric, you should be good. They won't show those holes. And then we are going to put the other piece of fabric right sides together. Make sure that the books are all facing the same way, but you want the two right sides touching each other. And then we're just going to pin 3 of the 4 sides with the pin all the way around. And again, just kind of staying with the pins at least within that 1/2 inch of the edge of the fabric, so then the holes won't show on the vinyl when we turn it out. So we are just going to quickly take the pins on our card. Definitely do one at the top 2 edges where the tape hits the top part of the vinyl. That'll make sewing it a little bit easier. And then I just kind of evenly space. You want to pin generally about 1 inch to 2 inches on your piece. Anything you're sewing, you want to do that as a good practice. It keeps the pattern pieces in place and together when we go to the sewing machine so that your stuff doesn't shift around and your fabric doesn't slip because the machine tends to want to do that. So, and again, we are just pinning 3 of the 4 sides because we're going to sew it in kind of a pillowcase fashion. And that's going to leave the top edge open so that we can turn it right side out. So here is my best sewing trick. We need a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and there's a ruler up there that's quite hard to see. But if you take your washi tape or masking tape or any kind of differently colored tape and align it with that ruler in the back before you start, it's a lot easier to keep the edge of the fabric in line with that tape line as you're sewing than it is to keep an eye on that silver ruler. That little high contrast thing there really makes it a lot easier to keep your seams nice and even, which is not one of my strong skills. So we're just going to start here at the top right corner. Doesn't matter if you do it from the top side or the bottom side. We are going to just start sewing. Make sure you've got your 2 threads headed out the back. Put your needle in. We're just going to do a quick forward and back reverse. That's how you should start all your seams. It reinforces them so that your seams doesn't get pulled out. And we are just going to sew in a straight line down to the bottom right corner. Once we get kind of within that 1/2 inch, leave your needle in the material and raise the presser foot. Then you just rotate your piece 90 degrees and keep going in a straight line towards the other corner. If you happen to sew too far, you can go back. If you sew not far enough, just keep going. When you make this turn, you'll see like, oh, that's a little bit too far. The fabric overlaps the tape. I need to go back a little bit or a little bit forward. Oh, there, it lines up perfectly. And now we just keep going straight. If you've never used a sewing machine before, you own a machine, you don't know how to use it, totally stop by the hanger. This is not intended to be a here's how to use your sewing machine video. Hopefully I will get to do one of those at a later date. Again, we're going to do that little forward reverse zigzag to reinforce that seam. And I can help walk you through using your sewing machine if you've never used a machine before. So we're going to just trim the corners here. I always just cut a little triangle off the edge at a 45. That makes it so that when we turn it around, the fabric doesn't get caught on itself. And when we turn this, we are just going to turn so that the vinyl and the fabric stays together on one side of the turn, and then the fabric is just alone on the back side. You can take a pencil, an unsharpened pencil, a knitting needle, a pen can sometimes work if it's out of ink. Something just pointy, but not terribly pointy to poke through. You want to be kind of gentle, but do use something to kind of work that edge there, the corner, to come out straight. And then just give your piece a good, hand flattening all the way around. I'm also going to trim off this top edge about a 45 of that fabric off as well. That ends up trimming that extra thread, which I always forget to trim threads. So if I cut that 45, it gets rid of that thread. And then once our project is turned out and flat, we are just going to kind of fold it like we're cuffing a sleeve. Just about a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch. You want about an inch over the top of the tape at the top of the vinyl. You want about an inch of fabric there free, so it'll turn under about a 1/2 or a 1/4 of an inch. And we're just going to pin that with a couple of pins. Probably only need 3. I always just do the middle and then the corners because it is quite small of a project. And once we get that nice and pinned, we're going to go back to the machine and just do a top stitch all the way around. We're going to start on the fabric edge so that when we do our zigzag, it's in the fabric instead of in the vinyl. So always, whenever you start a stitch, you are going to do forward and back and then keep going forward. It might be a little bit tough to do it on this small edge of the fabric. Again, I'm trying to do it as close to the edge as possible, not towards the center of the piece. That can make it a little bit difficult for the material to feed into the presser feet, but just go slow, work hard, use your hands, but don't, watch your fingers. But you might have to help manually kind of feed it a little. And then I'm just stitching as close as I can manage to the edge of the piece all the way around just to give it a little top stitch because we can't iron the vinyl because it will melt. So just a little stitch to finish it, and then I do a zigzag again here on the end of the fabric just to finish it off. Once we get that going, I will trim those threads. There we go. And again, you can see I kind of have to help it feed with my hands. Go ahead and trim that. And that's pretty much finished. We could just poke a hole after we trim these last threads. But most machines now, modern machines, and certainly the machines we have in the Hangar in the Lots collection, have a really cool buttonhole function. So I thought I would just show you how to do that really quickly as well. You can see that the pocket works totally well, fits my library card just right, and you'll never forget your library card again. So I'm just taking a ruler, and about midway of this inch that's poking above the bias tape, I'm just going to draw a line that's about an inch across, just dead center. I did the math. And then we're going to use this buttonhole foot, which a lot of machines have now, and our machines have here in the Hangar. If you had a button, it would go in this top part above where it would squeeze, and that's how you're setting the size of the hole to make. So it's adjustable. You can move it. Ours is about an inch, so that's about how much room I left there. To remove your presser foot, there's usually a little lever towards the back of your machine, and it attaches to the overall presser foot with a bar. So we are going to center the bar in that little hook there, push it up into the presser foot, and then use that lever to grab it. So that is the buttonhole foot attached. You can see the little line I drew there at the T. We're going to line that up with the red mark on the buttonhole foot. And again, yours might look a little bit different, but if you need help, send us an email, reach out on social media, and I can find an appropriate tutorial for the machine that you have. Or again, you can always come into the Hangar and use ours. So we're really lining up that red mark with the T on the end of the mark that we made. And then the last step, there's usually a little pull down lever that you want to get just behind that front lever of the buttonhole foot. So this is going to automatically sew a buttonhole for us. We changed the stitch to the buttonhole stitch. And what that really means is it's going to sew a wide satin column that's about 1 millimeter tall, 2 satin columns up the side, and then a satin column around the other end to cover both of the 2 edges. It'll make more sense when you see it when it's finished. Again, you might have to help it a little bit with your hands, but just go slow and pay attention to it and you should be just fine. So the last step here after we trim that thread is to cut open the buttonhole. There are a lot of ways to do this, but one of the easier ways is to just take a pin on the edge there and pin it straight across in front of that satin, the widest satin column. And take an X-Acto knife or a seam ripper and just cut through that slit towards the pin, and it will stop automatically there. So that's so you don't cut too far past the part that you stitched. So the last part of this project here is just to attach the little clippy thing to the jump ring and then attach that through the buttonhole. And I'm just going to clip these onto my hanger keys here, and that is all there is to it. Remember, if you need to borrow a sewing machine, you can always come visit the hangar during open hours. Check the description for links for info. Please tag us on social media, especially if you need help, and I will see you next time.